Hi there, I'm Nancy Nash with Starfish Strength, and today I want to give you a kick butt workout you can do with minimal time, space, and equipment that will leave you toned from tris to thighs. For equipment today, you'll want a pair of dumbbells or a couple canned goods, and an exercise mat or a large towel for our floor exercises. And then give yourself enough space to do a snow angel in all directions. So we're going to begin with a brief warm-up. Do 2 rounds of 3 standing exercises, 2 rounds of 3 floor exercises, and a brief cool down. So we're going to start out with alternating butt kicks or glute kicks, depending on how anatomically proper you want to be. But the goal here really is to get the knee a little bit behind my hip so that I can really feel this in the thighs and the front of the hips. So next I'm going to move into a rear lunge with an overhead reach. So I'm going to step back with my left leg and then reach my left arm up and over to the right to really stretch out that side. And then go ahead and let yourself repeat that on the other side. Keeping the weight on my left leg, I'm going to step the feet like I'm on train tracks with the knee, hip, and ankle in a nice straight line. And for our last warm-up exercise, you're going to want a little room overhead. We're going to do an overhead reach to a squat back, forward fold, and roll up. So as you squat back, let the knees come out over your ankles. Make sure you can really feel this in the hips. We're going to be using them a lot today. So let's grab some water and get started. I'm going to want both of my dumbbells for this first exercise. We're going to do a hinge to a row to a tricep kickback. So I'm going to make sure that my feet are about hip socket distance apart. I'm going to draw the belly button in as I keep the knees, hips, and ankles the same width. And then as I hinge, I'm going to shift my weight into my heels and then push back into the balls of my feet to come back up. So the hinge part of this exercise is a deadlift, which is a leg-powered exercise. So even though I'm working my entire body, I should really feel this profoundly in the back of the thighs, the hamstrings, in the glutes, and in the middle of my back. Nice job. So in between our exercises, you can grab some water, or you can do one of the warm-up exercises with me to keep moving. So we're only going to need 1 dumbbell for this next exercise. I'm going to hold the dumbbell in my left hand, step back with the left leg and lunge, keeping the weight in my right leg, and then come back to center and press overhead. So this is a rear lunge with a bicep curl and overhead press. And if you really want a challenge, you can add a knee raise into this. Keeping most of the weight on my right leg, I'm stepping back like my feet are on train tracks with the knee, hip, and ankle in a nice straight line, trying to keep the feet straight. Let's try one more. You got this. Nice job. So feel free to grab some water, or you can do that overhead reach to squat back, forward fold with me. Nice work. So let's repeat that on the other side. I'm going to put the dumbbell in my right hand, step back with the right leg, keep the weight on my left leg, and then you can either just drive the right foot so it's right beside your left foot, or you can add that knee raise. So focusing on drawing my belly button in and squeezing the glutes is really going to benefit my balance, because balance is also muscular control. So let's try one more of these. You got it. Nice job. All right, if you're feeling as hot as I am right now, you might need a drink of water. But if you don't, feel free to keep moving. So we're going to repeat all 3 of those exercises one more time. And this time we're going to focus just a little bit more on our range of motion. All right, so we're going to go through our hinge to row to tricep kickback one more time. I'm going to check out my feet, make sure that they're hip distance apart, that my ankles are in line with my knees, as I push the hips back and shift the weight into my heels. And then as I row, I'm really gonna pull my shoulder blades back, pull the elbows to the sides of my body, keeping a little bit of space between my elbows and my torso. And then I'm gonna pause in place and kick back. So it's kind of like I'm picking up something from inside the oven, pulling it towards me and throwing it behind me. I don't recommend doing that with your stuffing, but it sure tones those triceps. Nice job. If you've got the energy, we're going to keep it moving. And if you don't, that's okay too. This is just about bringing the time, space, and energy you have to this workout today. So next, I'm going to repeat my rear lunge to overhead press, and remembering that I can just keep the feet next to one another. Or if I need a little more challenge, I'm gonna raise a knee towards my chest, drawing the belly button in. And then balancing on one foot, thinking about that tripod in the foot. So balancing between both sides of the ball of the foot and the heel. And really driving the belly button in as I squeeze my tush. That's gonna really help my balance. All right, if you're ready for it, we're gonna do this one more time on the other side. I'm gonna step back with my right leg, keeping the weight on the left. I'm gonna draw the belly button in and squeeze my glutes as I drive the right knee up. So driving the right knee up, I am eventually aiming to lift that above the hip, but I don't wanna compromise my posture. So you can see my shoulders are right above my hips, and that is because I'm really using my core strength to balance. So know what you're aiming for, but work within your own capacity and you will get stronger. Nice work. That was difficult. We're only halfway there, but you got this. Go ahead and grab some water and your mat and I'll meet you on the floor. So for our floor exercises, we only need one dumbbell or one can, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go easy on you. And make sure you've got your water handy too. So our first exercise is a side plank with a reach through, and you can either do this on your knees or on the feet. The way I like to get into this is to start out on the knees, pull my belly in, think about pulling the shoulder down like I'm zipping up the side of the body, and then press up. So you can either do these just with your body weight, or if you're ready for a challenge, add a dumbbell. So before I rotate, I want to draw the belly button in and squeeze the glutes. And I know I sound like a broken record, but those are the muscles that help me balance. And you can tell it takes a lot of balance to hold yourself up on one side. Nice job. And then we're going to flip over and do this on the other side. So setting up for this on the other side, I want to remember the same idea, lining up the knees, the hips, the shoulders, drawing the belly button in, and then pushing up to the knees or the feet. And then I'm gonna let myself rotate from the torso, reaching with the shoulder, and then raising the hand right above the shoulder. And then remember, if you're ready for that challenge, let yourself add the dumbbell. 2 more, you're doing great. Last one. Nice. Before we go to our third exercise, I'm gonna have you come down on your back, drop your knees to one side and reach the hands in the opposite direction to stretch the hips and the abs a little bit. After you've held for a couple seconds, go ahead and let yourself do that on the other side. And if you need to hold longer in this stretch, feel free to pause the video. Our last move in this circuit is a squat thruster plank, and this one is tricky. I'm gonna place my hands right underneath my shoulders, make sure each fingertip has just a little weight in it, and shift so I've got my sternum lined up between my thumbs. So pulling the shoulders down and the abs in, I'm gonna squeeze the booty and push up into plank. So you can just hold here. But for the full exercise, I'm gonna bend the knees, push the hips back, hover the knees above the ground as I draw the belly button in, and then really squeeze the glutes and launch my hips forward by pushing through the balls of the feet. I know this is tough. We've just got a couple more. Last 2, give it everything you've got. You are strong. Nice. We're gonna go back through that one more time, but if it feels good to you, go ahead and let yourself have a child's pose stretch here. So I'm gonna bring the knees a little bit wider than the hips and walk the hands forward to get a really good stretch in the shoulders, the back, the hips, everything we've been working hard on today. Feel free to pause longer here if you need to, or go ahead and grab some water. And when you're ready, we're gonna come back into our side plank on our right side. If you feel like it's too easy on the knees and you wanna make it just a little bit harder, you could stagger your feet, putting one ahead of the other, and that will give you a wider base of support. And it's totally fine to do some on your feet and some on the knees. They don't all have to be the same. We're just trying to increase your strength and endurance over time. Great work. Let yourself take a little break, and we're going to set up for this on the left. And then remember, you always have that option to stagger your feet instead of stack them. We've done a lot of single-sided exercises today, and you might notice that this feels entirely different on your left side versus your right. We all are a series of imbalances, and we're just gonna work today to do the best we can to keep this as even as possible. And over time, you will see that your non-dominant side gets stronger. Last two, you got it. One more, really strong, nice. So we're gonna do that squat thruster plank one more time, and if you're ready for more challenge, we're gonna throw a push-up in there. So this time I'm gonna bring my hands wider than shoulder width, right outside my chest. So remembering to pull the belly button in as I push the hips back to really prepare the core to help me push back up. Nice. And if you need to, you can always come down to your knees for a couple of these. Even if you are super duper strong, let yourself try a couple of these on your knees and really focus on that range of motion in the upper body, especially rolling the shoulders back and down and drawing the belly button in to help you push back up. You will get so much stronger in the full version and you will tone those triceps. Remember, whichever version you're doing, it's great. You just want to work in your own capacity right now and do as many as you can with good form. This will get easier over time, I promise. Nice job. That was a tough workout and you did it. So we're gonna cool down with a couple stretches, and if you need a little extra support, grab a couch pillow. So I'm gonna start on an all fours position, and we're gonna push back into child's pose, bringing the knees wider than the ankles. But this time I'm gonna take one hand and reach it under the opposite armpit. Remember, just do what feels good in your body. So you can always use a pillow for support under the shoulder or between my hips and my feet. And then go ahead and switch to the other side. Again, I'm just reaching through the fingertips underneath the armpit as I reach that top arm forward. Wherever this feels good to the shoulders, the back, and the hips. So sitting up, I'm gonna come into a half straddle, half butterfly. I'm gonna bring one foot in towards me, and then I'm gonna fold myself down towards that straight leg. And I should get a pretty good hip stretch here. And after a few seconds, go ahead and transition yourself to the other side. Remember, if you need more time in these stretches, feel free to pause the video. I'll be right here when you come back. So I'm gonna have you come up in a half kneeling position. If this is uncomfortable for your knee, you can either place a pillow underneath it, or you could roll up part of your mat. And then I'm gonna pull the belly button in and thrust the hips forward at the same time. You should feel a pretty good stretch in the front of your thigh and hip. And if you need more stretch, go ahead and turn your torso towards the foot that's on the floor, and you will find that you get more of a stretch in the hip and into your back. And then go ahead and let yourself transition to that on the other side. You could always position yourself by a chair or a wall to give yourself a little more support. Remember, we want this to feel really good. Remember, tucking the pelvis, thinking about sending the hips forward together, and I should get a really good stretch in the front of that thigh and hip. And then if you need a little more, you can turn yourself towards that leg. Thanks so much for working out with me today. I hope you feel one step closer to seizing your inner star. If you enjoyed today's workout, please feel free to leave me a comment or check out the rest of our channel and like and subscribe so I can keep making these videos for you. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Wings and legs.